What do you teach your clients about money?
Oh man, what don't I teach them about? No, money is such an important topic, I think, and really anyone's journey, not even specific to Hollywood. I am still in my own learning journey, of wealth consciousness and working on my money mindset. But what I like to teach them is really focus on what is possible and what sounds exciting instead of focusing on what doesn't feel good. So for example, this example comes up a lot because I remember my clients telling me about this other teacher teaching about this. When you are focusing on, if you're a writer, director, actor, and you're focusing on, this is how much of my paycheck goes to taxes, and this is how much of my paycheck goes to my agent or manager, and I am left with so little. When you are focusing on, I am left with so little, you are going to create more of that in your life, in your career, right? Whatever we focus on expands. So instead of going, oh my gosh, if I book a co-star and I only make $800 for the day, and then, or I guess I start with 1,000, it's easier math to do in my head. I only make $1,000 for the day, and 30% of that is going to taxes, 20% is going to my agent and manager, and I'm only going home with like $500. That really sucks. To me, that is the most people thinking, right? So in terms of money, instead of focusing on how much it sucks when you're left with little money at the end of the day, instead, what if you focused on, what if I booked a recurring role for $20,000? And then even though some of it's going to taxes and my agent and manager, I'm still left with a pretty nice chunk of change, right? So instead of focusing on limitations and what, feels like your fate is going to be, and really focus on, the downside of all of that, focus on what's possible. Focus on being the one that gets $10 million paychecks from a movie. Again, it's like the most people pool and the high achiever pool. That high achiever pool, people who are making $10 million a movie, might be smaller than most people in the industry. But let's focus on that, because that's how you get there. So it's so important to really think from an abundant mindset about what is possible.
How do you teach people to stretch that? I guess it's a muscle.
Again, kind of like what I was telling you with, My Success is Inevitable, in addition to suggesting lots of books and resources that I love, that I think are really helpful, because I think that money mindset is a deep conversation that needs to happen over time. We need to unlearn a lot of things and relearn new things and take a look at our own money patterns. But just like with My Success is Inevitable, it's like, let's start looking for proof. Okay, I had a client that booked a $17,000 job, right? So there's proof that somebody I worked with, in the recent, past or whatever, booked a bigger paycheck, was able to receive a bigger paycheck. So now your subconscious goes, oh, so it's possible. Oh, so it's possible for me to get that, right? So again, it's like feeding your subconscious mind proof of what's possible, because proof exists. We just choose not to focus on it. We choose to focus on the people that are coming home with $500 and feeling broke. But instead, all this other evidence also exists. We're just saying that it's so rare and that that's not possible for us, or it's like winning the lottery, right? And so it's really about looking for that proof and going, okay, that is what I want to focus on. And that is what I'm working towards.
The Gilmore Girls example that you gave, again, she had been modeling, but she'd never had a speaking role?
No.
Wow. And how long was, the show is, didn't
like
they do a second?
7 seasons, okay. And then they recently did the, Netflix special that was 4 episodes long.
Right.
Yeah. But there's great, I love the show, so I've watched interviews and things like that behind the scenes, and I read Lauren Graham's, one of her books. And Lauren Graham talks about how she played Alexis Bledell's mother, as the two of them, for people that don't know Gilmore Girls. Lauren Graham talks about, she's like, if you ever see a scene where I'm like grabbing Alexis's arm and pulling her close to me, she's like, I was pulling her on her mark. because she was so new that she didn't, in the beginning, she didn't necessarily know all those things like, oh, you need to stand on your mark and, things that a seasoned actor would know. And so even without all that, that's how new she was. Even without all that knowledge and all that experience, she still booked one of the title roles, series regular, like 7 seasons.
Wow.
See, and that's possible. When we focus on that instead of, the actor who books one co-star a year and really struggles, right? It's like both evidence exist. Which one do we want to focus on?
How does money change an artist?
I don't think money changes anybody. I think, again, it's all internal. So whatever it looks like money changed was already there inside, right? So sometimes they say, fame is like holding up a magnifying glass to what's already there. Like, for example, I worked on a show, I won't mention names, but I worked on a show where one of the lead actresses was not a very nice person. And I found out that people who knew her before she was famous said that she was like that then. She wasn't a nice person then. It's like holding up a magnifying glass. So I don't think that money, I don't think any external thing changes us. I think that only, events and things like that, I guess, can shift our perception or our feelings or our beliefs. But I don't think like a tangible thing like money, which is just like a value exchange, I don't think that necessarily changes people. I think, again, it's like a magnifying glass to what's already there. So a lot of times people will feel when I have X amount of money, all my money problems will go away. But having more money doesn't change your spending habits. It doesn't change your saving habits or what you do with your money, how you treat your money. You are the person that does that. It might inspire you to change your habits. It might inspire you to do things differently. But I don't think money actually changes people.
From the people you've worked with, how does their outward success change the people around them?
Good question. Because I love that. Like, to me, that it makes me so happy to help, I say, spread the light. Like, I want to spread the light in Hollywood. The people that I work with, helping them feel good and feel inspired again will then help people around them feel inspired. So I think it's more about the internal changes than the external things that they book, the projects that they book. I think that, one of my clients was saying that her mom said, oh, you're so upbeat recently, you're so positive and happy. And she was like, yes, I'm a month working with Erica. So I think that it's more the internal shift that impacts people around them in a positive way. But, I guess the projects that they might book or the external things can kind of, I guess, with the internal shifts also help impact people. But what I'm seeing and what I really hope is that it impacts people for the better, where it inspires other people to go after their dreams. And it shows other people what's possible. When I first started out almost 13 years ago, I read Jack Canfield's Success Principles. It was my very first self-help book I ever read. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. I loved it so much. And I think it really helped me break in to Hollywood so quickly. And one of the tactics that he talked about was writing your goals on an index card. And so I would do that for every goal for years. I don't do it anymore because my belief around that has shifted a little bit. But like, my dad started writing his goals down on index cards. I was like, that is so cool. I think, there's something so incredible about inspiring others to go after their dreams or to believe in more, believe in more possibility for themselves by seeing people they know or love do it.
But what if that doesn't happen?
What if it doesn't inspire others?
What if it takes another turn?
What do you mean?
What if somehow they can't handle that? Have you seen that in...
Like the person who's succeeding or the person that's watching them?
The person that's succeeding, what if some of the individuals around them, that threatens them? Have you worked with your clients on that? And how do they internalize that?
So they're feeling threatened by their success?
Or the dynamics changed, power structures changed. Mm-hmm. And so it upsets the apple cart.
Yeah, that absolutely does happen. And I've coached many clients through that, I think especially with friends. And I think that you know, you can't control somebody else's journey, right? So like my client can't control their friend getting on board and being excited and being inspired, or feeling threatened, or feeling, you know, not good about it or whatever, right? We can't control somebody else's journey. They're on their own path. And so it's not up to us how they feel. And one of the things that I work with my clients a lot is because a lot of times when we're doing the mindset, it's really the internal shifts that impact their relationships the most. And a lot of times I say that when you start changing and growing, what you used to tolerate becomes less tolerable. So the people that maybe aren't getting on board, maybe were never meant to get on board with them, right? And maybe it was something they were tolerating before, but it's like they can't even tolerate it anymore. They don't even want to be around them, right? So I think that, you know, it's important that we surround ourselves with people who support us and who want us to win and are, you know, and excited for us. And if people are feeling, you know, negative Nancy's, they're feeling down, that's okay. You know, they're on their own path. But the more we surround ourselves with people like that, the more time we spend with them, the more it can start to drag us down if we're not incredibly strong about our own energy and thought process. So I never think it's about like, oh, you need to break up with this friend. You know, I don't think it's necessarily about cutting people out of your life, but just being more present and aware of the kinds of conversations you have with them and the things that they say, and then how it impacts how you feel.
When you've had a client reach tremendous success, what were some of the surprises that they weren't ready to handle?
Well, I've worked with a lot of new people, so tremendous success. I don't know if, you know, that's all relative, and I don't know if I've ever coached somebody that achieved something so incredible that they weren't ready for, because I think that the work that we do gets them ready for it. And that's always what it's about. Like it's always the internal thing, you know, how do you feel about what is happening? And do you have support around you? You know, that's like why some of my clients end up staying into, like I have a membership where it's just a couple coaching calls a month in a group setting so that they can keep up with the work, to keep up with that belief system, keep up with that mindset work, so that as they do achieve things, they have the support system to help them, you know, handle anything that comes their way.
So some of this has never come as a surprise to them. They've taken these steps and they were ready emotionally.
Yeah, nothing's ever a surprise. I mean, like, because I train them to expect success. And I shouldn't even say I train them. I don't want to take responsibility. They shift their belief system to believe that their success is coming. So it's never a surprise. It's exciting and they're really happy about it. And, you know, it's funny, like even small things. One of my clients texted me the other day in her session. She moved home during the pandemic and is going to move back to LA soon. And she was like, you know, when do I move? Like, I'm looking at places. I don't know when the timing is right. And I said, well, when you find a place that you love that feels really good. And I was like, watch, I bet this week you'll find a place now that we had this conversation. And she texted me the next day and was like, you won't believe one of those apartments just became available that I was interested in. So it's never a surprise. It's expected. I mean, it's surprise in the way of like, wow, this really did come true. This really did happen. And there's excitement around that, but never a surprise.
So expect success. Okay, I like that. And do you think with the every people pool, it's not expected?
Correct.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, correct.
I'm fingers crossed. Okay.
Ask anyone. Ask most people. You know, ask them what they believe about their success or about the next booking or the next job or whatever. And yeah, most people do not expect it. They expect failure, or they expect it to take a long time, or they expect struggle.